Okay, so you guys want to know how I did what I did. How did I build this empire in the voiceover realm? What's my background? How did I put it all together? Let's talk about it. So the big question is this: how do voiceover artists like us who are looking to take our careers to the next level but don't buy into the claims of needing expensive equipment and demos start bringing in new clients? How do you follow a clear path to changing your voiceover side hustle into your full-time job and stick it to those that said you couldn't? Those are the questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Earl Hall, and welcome to In the Booth with Earl Hall, where we know how to grind and don't quit. Hey folks, and welcome into this edition of In the Booth with Earl Hall. Welcome everyone that's coming in. Thanks for putting your notifications on so that you know when I come in. If you're brand new to this podcast, to this live stream that I do, I guess every day at this point, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go ahead and tick the bell for the notifications so that you know when I go live or when I upload a video. The past couple of days have been amazing. I've loved the past couple of shows. I did two shows yesterday. One was an interview with Mike from Real Voice LA. Is that it? Yeah, realvoicela.com. If you missed that, you definitely want to make sure that you go and check out that one. And the conversations we've been having on Fiverr this week have been amazing. Let me just tell you, when you hear me say what you pay attention to will grow, what you focus on will grow, it will. I've done close to $1,000 this week on Fiverr. This week. Because I decided to focus in on it and see how this thing works, even with the debacle that I had with them saying I was a level 2 seller again and then saying, oh, no, you're level 1. So I've got to wait till next month to be a level 2, which is no big deal to me. One of the things that I'm focusing in on is my e-learning. And there's a couple of ways that I'm doing that with e-learning. I'm writing blogs on e-learning, posting those blogs on LinkedIn, participating in the groups, the different e-learning groups that are out there, and people are discovering who it is that I am because of the expertise that I have in business. And it's kind of the whole reason why I wanted to do this particular broadcast this morning. People have asked, they ask about, how did you do it? What are you doing? And things like that. And I honestly think it has a lot to do with my background, which is in business. I mean, from the time I was a teenager, I remember, growing up in Reisterstown, Maryland is where I grew up. I was born in Mechanicsville, Virginia, lived there until I was 11. My entire family is in Virginia. Even my parents have moved back to Virginia from Maryland. That was over 25 years ago. They moved back. But growing up in Reisterstown, Maryland, having my, routes that I did with cutting neighbors' grass and things of that nature. I think one of the most interesting things that happened as I was growing up and when I was a teenager that kind of started the whole entrepreneurial mind that I have, besides my father. My father is not an entrepreneur, but he pushed us to strive to be the best and to do what you want to do. He put this thought in my head at a young age: have a mind to have your own. And that was huge. Whatever he meant by that, I took it how I took it. Have a mind to have your own. And I've always had that mindset. But starting off cutting grass, and one of the interesting things, I grew up in Reisterstown, Maryland. This was, at the time, upper middle class neighborhood. Our family was one of 3 families that were African American that lived in that neighborhood, predominantly white, Jewish, just upper middle class people to upper class. And for whatever reason, I developed this, I don't know, people saw me in a certain light when I was growing up. And I don't know why, and still to this day, I don't know why. But obviously you can see I'm African American. Grew up in a white, upper middle class neighborhood. I was one of the go-to babysitters in my neighborhood. And I think it's because of how my father was, how I am, and I truly understood and realized that not many people care about color at that age, at a younger age, even though, you go through things. Um, but I was the go-to babysitter from all the little teeny bopper, little white girls in the neighborhood. This guy was the go-to babysitter. And so I made a lot of money in babysitting. I made a lot of money in cutting grass for the neighborhood, and that was because of my dad. My dad, his first master's degree, he has two. His first master's degree was in agriculture. So, and we had our house set up on a hill, and it was a corner lot. So we had a lot of area, a lot of grass, more yard than most people in that neighborhood. And because my dad had a master's degree in agriculture, you can imagine that our yard it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And the people saw I maintained it. My dad taught me a lot about agriculture, especially growing up in the country in Virginia, and cutting grass and watering, and we planted brand new shrubs around the house and all that. And so people saw that, and they saw our yard, and they thought that if I cut their grass, their yard would look like that. But so it was early on that I had this mindset of, one, from my father, almost being a perfectionist, being meticulous. I never forget one day, I think my dad just came home in a bad mood, and I had cut the grass, and I had missed a line. You know how you can cut the grass, but you kind of miss a line? He saw that there was a line of grass that wasn't cut. It was real small, but he said, go over the whole yard again. Just go over the whole yard. And, and I did. And it took about an hour to cut our yard, from mowing to edging, around the house. And I didn't have one of those, weed whackers or whatever. It was the scissors thing that you had to press, and I had to go around the house. And it was, so our yard was immaculate, and it was maintained very, very well, because my dad knew what had to be done in order to achieve that. But as I continued to grow, I got my first job at 13. My first job was at a Dunkin' Donuts. Never forget it. And I could walk to work. It was, it was probably about a quarter of a mile from our house, so I had to walk to the main road, which still is Reisterstown Road, in Reisterstown, Maryland. Neighborhood has changed a lot. It's not as good as it used to be, but I think that's with a lot of neighborhoods. But anyway, having the work ethic to, one, at 13, I've been working since I was 13, to go out and get a job. After that, I worked at a grocery store during the time that I was in high school, bagging groceries, getting grocery carts. Immediately after high school, I went into the United States Air Force, did 4 years there, a little bit more than 4 years, in the United States Air Force, which taught me a heck of a lot. That was when probably I endeavored on my first business venture, which was actually Amway. Who remembers Amway? So I learned a little bit about business at about age 19, 20, doing some things with Amway. Got out of the military in 1992, had all of these ideas that I wanted to do. I look back now and I realize I'm just wired different. I don't want to work for anyone, not because of how I think about myself, but more so that most people don't know what the heck they're talking about. And it's like, you want me to do what? For what reason? Type of thing. And I'll never forget, I had a very good job. A woman that was a member of our church, Concord Baptist Church in Baltimore, Maryland. She worked for, gosh, now I can't remember it was a car company in one of the plants. Basically, it was a GMC plant. And I got a job there making amazing money. As you can imagine, working in a plant, a factory, auto production plant back in the 90s, I was killing it, making amazing money. And I hated every minute of it. I hated every single minute, because I worked on an assembly line, and one of the jobs that I had there was putting tires on the driver's side of the vehicle. So all night, 10, 12 hours, I'm lifting a tire, putting it on, zip, 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 all night. I'm not wired for that. I'm not wired for repetitive stuff. And I worked there for about maybe 4 months, and I just didn't go back. my parents were livid. They like, what are you doing? You got this great job. I can't do it. But you don't have another job. I can't do it. Now, at the time, I wasn't married, didn't have kids. I'm in my early, mid-20s, whatever. So it really didn't matter. I could, have gotten a job. So literally, I moved back to Virginia with no plan. Honestly, no plan. And I got there, got a job as a security officer working in, at the time, I was assigned to a hospital. Not a big hospital. It was just one floor. I think it was more so kind of like a veterans thing, but it was small, but people did have to stay overnight there. And so I would walk the floors or whatever, checking this and checking that. And that was completely boring to me. I got a job not long thereafter at a collection agency, of all things, for people that wrote bad checks. And I did that for a while in collections, didn't like that, asked the owner, hey, can I do sales? Sure, because I figured I could probably make more money doing sales. And I went out into the field and I started making a ton of money for this company because of my sales ability, which at that time I was starting to discover that I actually had a sales ability. And so, as most salesmen do, you learn how to game the system to make more money. And so they kept changing the system so that I couldn't make all this money that I was making, which irritated me. So I basically quit and started my own agency. That was my first business because I knew how to go to get the clients and I knew how to do this and that. And so I was money motivated at the time to go and do that. And that I was miserable with as well because it wasn't my passion. It wasn't what I wanted to do. But I started to understand business at that time. This was around 95. At that time, I moved to Milwaukee, came out here to be with my girlfriend at the time, which we're not together anymore. It did not last long, but here's why I'm in Milwaukee. So everybody wants to know, how did you wind up in Milwaukee? That's why. I was chasing a girl. So that being said, I got involved with, I attended some more college courses because I wanted to get more into the engineering field. I thought that, okay, if I go into engineering, I can make a ton of money. Got this job as a computer-aided draftsman. Use things like AutoCAD and SolidWorks. I don't know if you guys even know anything about those types of things, but that's what happened. And I got fired. It was funny because every time I got called into the office, I was given a raise, and I was given a raise. And I got fired. And the only thing they said was, it's for business purposes. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Why are you firing me? It's just a business decision. And what I figured out is that they could see that I wanted more and was going to do more than what they were offering. I got fired. This was in May of 98? May of 1998. And I actually immediately got another job. One of the salespeople that worked there thought that I got a bad deal for being fired. And he called me up and said, hey, can I come see you? So he came out to my apartment. He says, I'm going to get you another job. Call this person. They'll hire you. And they did. And so I maintained what I was doing in the engineering realm, learning more and more about business, learning more and more about customer service. But I had a technical skill that I could use. Got that job. By October of that same year that I got fired and got another job, I quit because I started my own engineering firm. That engineering firm grew a lot. What happened behind all of that was I got a couple of clients under my belt and had about maybe 20, 30 grand coming in a month. And I just said goodbye to the place that I was working at. I was majorly afraid to say something to my father about quitting a job and starting my own business. And the surprising thing is I told him what I was doing. He said, do it. And that was the person I was most scared of to say something to, but he was the one that pushed me on and said, go ahead and do it. And what happened with that, because of how I was marketing, and this is how I learned, and this was in 98, 99, I was digging into at the time, the internet was still brand new. There was no Facebook. I was on AOL. So you can go back to 98, 99 and just remember these things. There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There was no Instagram. It was basically email that people did. And so I learned how to gather email addresses and I started emailing people, different engineering firms to do their work for them. I was getting hired to do that. And I quickly realized that I couldn't do it alone. And so what I did is I started acting more as a project manager. I hired people from India that were engineers that could perform the work that I needed done, that I could check and then turn back into my clients, and figured out I could do a lot more work that way. Well, what happened is there were a couple of mega business owners out of Germany, one out of Tennessee, and another one in India. They were all partners, and they saw what I was doing. And I get this call, hey, we want to have a meeting with you. We see what you're doing, and we'd like to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So went ahead, obviously, took the meeting. I'll never forget it. I'm sitting in a 2-bedroom apartment in my little dining room. My daughter was just born. My first child was born in 1999. And so I'm sitting here at this little round table that we have in our dining room talking to these mega business owners. It's not even a joke. They're like, look, we want to put together a company and we'd like you to run it. And I'm sitting there like, but what? And it's like, we've been trying to crack this nut about using foreign talent to do work in the U.S. to deliver that work. We want you to run the company. They invested a company, they invested in office space, and I was the chief operating officer for the company. And we did gangbusters. I mean, I was responsible for getting the work, and I garnered clients, big clients like Harley Davidson, Kraft Foods. I mean, just big brands to do work for in this company. And we were growing relatively quick. I was making great money at the time, had a great life. Well, I learned very quickly that if you don't have the money, you're not in control of the company. He that has the money has the control. And so even though I had started this company, they brought me in to continue to grow a company that they wanted to form. I didn't have control over a lot of stuff that I should have had control over. Hindsight being 2020, I should have said no to the deal, and I should have structured it different. But I was a young guy in my mid to late 20s, didn't know what was going on. So anyway, they brought in some partners that here in Wisconsin that I knew were not good people. I knew they had issues, but they brought these people in anyway, and the company exploded. It died. One of the partners they brought in was an alcoholic. The other partner had severe tax issues. And within 6 months of making them partners, the company was no more. The only thing that I was able to hold on to sustain myself was that I had developed a relationship with Harley Davidson here in Milwaukee. So I was able to maintain that until they shut down plants in about 2004. And so I had to remake myself. I had lost pretty much everything. I have no desire to go back into the engineering realm at all. During this whole time, around 2004, 5, about 2007, is when I really got into being behind the mic, doing radio and other things like that, internet radio, but it was more of a hobby than anything else. But that's where I got the bug to do what I'm doing now. And so even through all of that, what I realized after the company had died in about 2004, this major company that I built was gone. I went through 3 years of depression without even knowing that I was in depression. I knew it after I came out of it, and I came out of it because I'd made a decision, I'm going to do what I want to do. But after the company died, Earl had to go get a job. I got a job at Lowe's. I worked in a department. Within 3 months of working there, and this is just because of my work ethic, within 3 months of working there, I was promoted to manager and ran 3 different departments in Lowe's. And so that grew relatively quickly. I got a job offer to go to work for Time Warner Cable, took that job because it paid a whole lot more money than what I was making at the time, but still was not happy. Money, I realized, was not the thing that was going to make me happy. Sure, I needed money. I had a family now. I had kids now. They were young, still in diapers and all that kind of stuff, and was still trying to figure it out. Got a job after that at a place called Batzner Pest Management. Yep, I was going around killing bugs and rodents and stuff like that. And from that, I realized, hey, you know what? I could probably do this on my own. And so I did. I got the licensing that I needed to do and started doing this and was doing very well, but was not happy. I knew that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And so in my 40s, now I'm 48. Am I 48? will I be 48? I think I'll be 49. Yeah, I'll be 49 this year. But from my early 40s to now is when I really got into voiceover. I didn't discover that I could be great at voiceover until I was about 40 years old, 40, 41. But even before then, I was starting to make money in the voiceover industry. But I had all of this vast experience on business and business development. And I knew that I could do whatever it was that I set my mind to do. And when I talk to many of you from time to time about, how to build a voiceover business, or it's not even that. No one asked me how to build a voiceover business. I've never had that question. The question that I get all the time is, how can I get clients, or what do I need to do, or whatever. And I think it's the wrong questions to ask. Because through the history that I've had of building businesses and starting businesses and all this other kind of stuff, it's not about your talent or your skill in the technical thing that you're doing. It wasn't about my engineering ability. It was not about my ability to kill rodents and mice and cockroaches. It was not in my ability to, tell people what kind of wood they needed to use to build a doghouse. It was in my ability to market and sell. That was the ability. That is the reason, or how I've gotten to where I've gotten. You can get the skill for anything you want to get a skill on. But if your heart is not in the process of building and marketing and selling what it is that you are offering, you will die. Your business will die. It's not going to grow. I don't even care how good you are at what you do. If you don't have the ability to market what you do, you're dead in the water. And I see so many times that people in the voiceover realm or the freelance realm, they're technicians. They know how to do what they know how to do. They're artists. They know how to do that. But they have no business acumen, no business intelligence, or anything like that. They don't even study business. They don't even look into how to grow a business. All they want to do is they think that it's something in their microphone, or there's something in their DAW, or there's something in their vocal space. It is nothing compared to what you need to know about growing a business. The only reason where I've gotten to where I've gotten through many successes and failures in my life is because the skill that I have is not in the technical skill. It's in the ability to build a business. That's it. It has nothing to do with anything else because whatever it is that I chose to do, and this is the thing, when I look back on my history, whatever it is that I've put my mind to build, I've been able to do it. But when I realized, you know what, I don't have the passion for this. I don't even like doing this. This is why I know that voiceover is the thing. Audio production is the thing for me, because it's been over a decade and I never get bored. And I'm a guy that my wife will tell you, I will get bored in a minute. I'll pick up something and then, I don't want to do that anymore. But voiceover, audio production, building this business is the joy of my life. It is literally the oxygen in my life. It's the reason that I get up every morning. It's what I want to do. And I never wake up and I'm like, oh gosh, I've got to go to that freaking studio. Never. Every morning is exciting. Every morning there's something for me to do. Every morning there's something that I'm excited about doing. I can't wait to get in here. I'm telling you this story because if that's not how you feel about voiceover, quit and find out what you really want to do. Because if all you're going to do is complain about Facebook changing an algorithm, Fiverr changing an algorithm, YouTube changing an algorithm, if every day it is a complaint, I can tell you this is not really what you want to do. But if every day you look at it as a challenge, and every day you look at it as an opportunity, no matter what comes, no matter what goes, you're going to learn how to game the system. You're going to learn how to work within the system or the ecosystem that you're working in, whether it's Fiverr, Boldago, Voices.com, Voices123. I don't care what it is. If you wake up every morning and you say, you know what, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to learn. I don't care how long it takes. I'm not going to complain. But if every morning all you do is you're complaining, please go find something that you'd rather do. And I honestly believe that. It's like, why are you giving yourself a headache every morning trying to figure this out? Why? If this is not your joy, and I'm not talking about necessarily voiceover, but the process of building a business. The process of building a business is where I get my joy. And it just so happens that voiceover and audio production is my passion. And I figured that out about a decade ago. But I could have been successful doing any of the things that I just talked about doing. But when I got to the place where I am now, it did not come easy, never will. And everybody's still looking for an easy button. Everybody's still looking for, how can I just make it? It's going to take you years. And I can see your faces drop sometimes when I'm talking to you on the phone. And I'll say to you, if you're not willing to put in 3 to 5 years of some hard ass work, you need to quit. You need to go find what's going to inspire you. You need to go find that thing that you're passionate about. And one of the greatest conversations I've had is from one of my students that actually discovered, this was last year. She called me up. She's like, Earl, this isn't for me, but I know what is, and I'm going to go pursue it. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for understanding that you need to follow what it is that you actually want to do. And so many of you are trying to do things, and I'm just guessing, whether you're trying to impress your wife, your spouse, your mom, your dad, and you don't want them to know that you failed. Who gives a crap? Because it's your life. You need to go do what it is that you want to do. And if voiceover is that thing that you really want to do, please stop bitching about it. Please stop complaining about it. Please look at everything that you see as something that is tearing you down. Look at it as an opportunity for you to really figure out how to do it. There are some people that will watch this video. You need to quit. You either don't have the talent, or you don't have the passion, or you don't have the work ethic. One of those things is going to destroy you in any business endeavor that you take on. Go do something you'd rather do. Do what you want. Don't think you have to do voiceover to impress someone, because there is something that you will do that is better than anyone else can do it. You just have to discover what that is. So even on this journey of voiceover, and many of you know me over the past 2 years, you probably know my story of, I just quit my job last year and started doing this full time. But you know the story of how I got there. Working full time at night from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, getting off work at 3 a.m., getting up at 7 a.m. to take my kids to school, going in my basement to work until my kids got out of school, picking them up from school at 3 o'clock, coming home, trying to take a quick nap to be able to get up at 7 to start the whole thing over. If you don't have that type of dedication, and I don't care what your excuse is, many of you have excuses, and that's how I look at them. Well, my dog got sick, or I had to do this or that. Sometimes something or someone or things are going to suffer in order for you to build your business. Now, you might think that sounds kind of cold, but here's why it's not. Most of us have been on an airplane. We've been through the spiel. In the event that cabin pressure drops, life support mask will drop from the ceiling. Before you assist others, put your mask on first. They tell you to put your mask on first before you help someone else. Because if you're trying to help someone else, you're going to die. Same situation with what I'm talking about here. Either you're going to put yourself first and building your business first so that you can help all the other people in your life that need help. You can't help them right now because you're not doing anything as far as being able to do for your family or whatever. You're going to miss somebody's birthday. You're going to forget somebody's birthday. You're going to forget Valentine's Day. You're going to forget an important day. You're not going to be able to go to all the family events because every waking moment needs to be spent on you building your business. Period. If you don't have that mentality, it's why you're going to fail. You need to choose. You need to decide, is this for you? Because this is a business you're going to build. And it's not any business you're going to try is not going to be easy. For whatever reason, people have this mentality about voiceover that it's just something on the side you can do and make a lot of money. Bull crap. It's a business that you're trying to develop. This does not come easy. If it was, obviously there'd be a lot of successful VOs out there. And you know as well as I do that they're not. This is why I push so hard. This is why I give as much as I can give to try and let you see some of at least my own experience. I don't know everything. All I know is what I've experienced. So that's all I can share. I think that's it. Let me take a look at what you guys are saying, because I haven't looked with what you guys are saying. Thanks for listening, though. But I felt that I needed to share this. Hopefully it was inspirational for you and you got something out of it, which is what I try and do every day. But good morning to everybody that's in here. I'm seeing you guys are sharing some of your stories as well. Steve was saying, I knew there was more to the story. Bus driver Earl becomes successful VO. LOL. Voices by Storm. When you dread the next day, it's time to change your profession. Yeah, for real. Andrea saying, I did a voiceover yesterday for a documentary of a social activist that I admire and respect. And it was the best feeling ever. I know it was. Floated with a big smile on the drive home from the studio. So yeah. Now, Andrea, push for the next one. Because you're done that. What's next? And how hard are you going to push and work to get the next one? Because it's always the next one. As I say, the number one job we have as VOs is to get the client. That's your job. Get the client. Thursday Truth. Ben. What's up, Ben? Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Andrea, always thanks for your input and everything. And I love you guys, and I want you to succeed. There's still, I still haven't told it all. I mean, how do you tell the last 50 years of your life, and what you experienced and what you've gone through, to get you to where you are? But each of us has that story. Each of us has a story. The thing about our stories is when you realize you can start writing your own story as opposed to just happenstance or happen chance or whatever that word is, you can start writing your story today. How you became a successful VO, or how you started to understand that VO was not for you. And that's okay. It's okay. You can sell your equipment, sell it, and go do what you want to do that's going to help and inspire others to be better and help yourself. Well, guys, I definitely appreciate your time today. This has been, I can talk. Obviously, I can talk a lot about certain things, but don't forget, I guess I should have said this early on. You remember that deal I had with the $99 for a demo? Well, thanks to everybody that bought it, because a lot of people did, and what I decided was to just make it a standard. So now on, if you just want your basic basic demo, it's now just $95. And no, if you've paid me $99, I'm not going to give you a couple bucks back. And that's only because Fiverr only gives me the option of choosing $95. I can't say $99, which I wanted to do, but it only gives me the option for $95 or $100, and $95 looks better than $100. So from now on, if you want a demo or you need a demo, a basic demo, you can check out the Fiverr gig. I think the link is in the description. So it's official. I'm not raising the price. It is what it is. The webinar is coming up on Sunday. If you guys haven't registered, you need to. It's only $37 and it's going to be fire. If you need the link, shoot me an email, Earl at Earl Hall Studio, and I'll shoot you the link. The webinar is going to be Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Love you guys. I hope this was well worth your time, and I definitely appreciate everything that you guys do for me, and you guys inspire me every day. You have an awesome and amazing Thursday. See you tomorrow.